Hi, this is Randy with Toxically. What does it really mean to be a man in today's society? That's what we're going to be talking about today. First off, we should probably get into a little bit of who we are and what we are. I'm Randy, of course. Those of you that have been following along, I'm also blue collar, prior military. Here with me, I've got Chris. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Chris.
Hey, you guys see me in another podcast? Chris, I was also Navy and I work with Randy.
And then we have Mike. Mike, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Mikey. 15 years in healthcare, and I'm the marketing guy on Toxically Mail, and happy to be here and have the conversation.
Yep. So if you all see this coming across and you're not one of our friends or family, you have Mike to thank for that. So
Or
figure we'll
blame.
start off. What's that?
Or blame.
Or blame?
Yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully it
or
won't be too
blame.
annoying, right?
Oh, I'm pretty sure. Hopefully, it won't be. I mean, we got a lot of stuff to say, and hopefully, it resonates with a lot of you listeners out there. With Toxic and Male, we're mainly aiming at men, blue collar men between the ages of 18 and 65. Those that are coming up, those that need to learn, those that want to learn more about how to do things around your house because it's getting expensive out there. How to do things on your car, it's getting expensive out there. How to work on your motorcycle, also getting expensive out there, and just to kind of create a community where men can sit down and talk about how to succeed with the pitfalls that are out there today. So today, what does it really mean to be a man in today's society? First thing I want to start off with is the unwritten rules to being a man. Now, I tried to look these up. My dad taught me these when I was a kid, and I'm sure a lot of young men out there, or even older men, they got passed these down from their father or a father figure. I couldn't find anything where it was actually there was a go-to list, and I knew about them, but there was no go-to list. So I had to hunt them down, talk to people, and talk to some old heads out there, and I've compiled a list. So the ones that we're going to talk about today, we're going to post on the site. So if you want to see these and you want to teach these to other young men out there without having to just refer to the podcast, you want to talk to them about them, they're going to be here. And I'll say this again at the end of it, but if there's something that we're missing that you've found or you've use as a rule of thumb for how to be an exceptional man in today's society, let us know. Put it in the comment section. We'll talk about it. All right. So the first one, which is a big one, well, it is a big-ish one. Don't be a burden to others. Yeah, I'm going to read these off the screen on the other side here so that I don't forget these. Don't be a burden to others. Now, this is one that my dad taught me. If a man can't stand on his own 2 feet, then he doesn't deserve to stand. It's always okay to ask for help, but don't make it. Don't be relying on it all the time. If we're going to help people, this is just my opinion. If we're going to help people, um, you don't want to. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh my God, I'm having a fucking brain fart.
Take advantage.
You're
Enabling.
there we go. You're enabling. Right? Enabling.
I
So you
enable
don't
you.
want to you don't want to provide so much help that you're going to enable them to continue the same bad habits. They didn't learn from it then. But for me, I I'll ask for help when I need it, and I will give help when other people ask for it. But you don't want to be a constant burden to other people. Figure it out. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah. So as well, maybe you have that one buddy who's always coming over because change spark plugs or something, right? Take the time, teach the person. Teach them how to do it and everything like that. So that way, they know how to do it and everything. So that way they can start figuring it out on their own. And then next time he goes to do it, like, hey, go ahead and do it. I'm just gonna come over and watch, make sure and everything. And so it just help them help themselves.
I mean, that's what we do with work anyway, don't we? I mean, even at work when we're training people, you don't want to just constantly do it for them. You want to teach them how to do it themselves. I mean, otherwise, they're never going. They're not always going to work with you forever. They're going to work with somebody else. You want to set them up for success and not, set them up for failure. What do you think, Mike?
No, I definitely agree. And I mean, to use Chris's example with the spark plugs, I mean, if my 6-year-old can take them out with a mild bit of instruction on her own and knows how to break threads, I don't think it's very difficult to take the initiative and set aside the fear, knowing that, hey, if you mess something up, it's probably fixable and it's a learning experience to make an error sometimes. At the same time, yeah, I definitely agree with the fact that if you're going to ask for help, you can't be in a situation where you're allowing somebody to enable you to continue to rely on that help as long as there aren't extenuating circumstances, obviously. But I've always been of the belief that if you have to ask for help, use the time that you're getting that help to become as strong as you can. So that way, the next time you're able to help instead of get help, you're able to provide that upper level for somebody else who might need it too, right? It's like being the
Sure.
resource that you're hoping to be, but also by being the resource that you're seeking out for others, right?
Mhm. Well, I mean, like one of the major things that we're out here as men are, at least traditional men, blue collar men, for example, um, we're dads. We're not always going to be here. You got to set your kids up for success because once you're gone, you want your kids to be self-sufficient. You don't want to have them constantly relying on other people because that gets expensive. Number one, and number two, they could get taken down the river by somebody that doesn't know what they're damn doing. You know what I mean?
And
Yeah.
it's funny you
I,
mentioned that because, like, I really do believe in that. I mean, given my circumstance, I was homeschooled because of, type 1 diabetes. I had a hard time with it when I was a kid. But, like, learning the skills on the time I wasn't studying with my dad on, like, again, rebuilding the back wall of our house because termites ate the entire frame out of it, and learning how to mix up mortar mix and working on dirt bikes, with his instruction helped me understand what I need to pass down to my daughter, but at the same time, how to do it in a way that provides early enough exposure without that fear of messing up. Like she was like, I might break one of the spark plugs. I'm like, break it. It's okay. Just be careful and you won't break it. But if it happens, guess what? That's all right. So yeah, it's like, I
I
definitely
mean,
agree with the point of view there.
well, I mean, how you deal with failure is generally more important than how you deal with success. Um, Even the richest people out there and the most brilliant people out there, they got that way because they kept failing. They learned from each failure, and that's what became that big success for them. So, I mean, teaching kids how to deal with failure is a beautiful thing, in my opinion. And that goes for all the young men out there too. You're going to fail. Keep picking yourself up and going with it, man. Don't stop. If you
Find
stop,
a way to fix
well,
it.
yeah, always find a way to fix it. I mean, that's what we're doing here with Toxically Male anyway. All right, so that was don't be a burden to others. I think we beat that one to death. Next one, never contribute negatively online. Arguing online is like, how did you put it, Chris?
Oh, never. So, uh,
Don't
s-
argue with
don't
idiots,
argue with idiots. They'll bring you down to their level and beat you with experience. From Mark
for sure.
Twain.
And that was from Mark Twain. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Um, if you're arguing online, and this is going to feed more into this whole topic, if you're arguing online, there is no guarantee you're going to change your mind. And generally, it's not going to. And that's even though, yes, we're on social media, and that's where we're at right now. I mean, that's what Toxically Male is there for. I'm not living next to your house, so I can't constantly come over and coach you on stuff. None of us can coach you on stuff, but here we're able to reach out across the country and try to help people. Arguing online is pretty goddamn retarded. A lot of these people are armchair quarterbacks, and if you try to twist their process or change their thought process, they're going to get defensive awful quick, and then it just breaks down into absolute stupidity. Which is why we'll get into that here in a bit. Which is why, for example, I'm pretty conservative and very right wing leaning. Now I'm not extreme. I would never consider myself extreme. Um, but out of the three people in this channel right now, I am probably the most extreme. Now, Chris, on the other hand, he's more moderate, and one of the main reasons I hang out with this motherfucker at work is he kind of calms me down. Our thought processes are not always the same. Our opinions are not always the same, but we don't break down into arguments over stupid shit. The same thing with Mikey. Mike is more liberal
Mikey.
leaning than I am. He came from healthcare. Um, he has opinions that I don't normally share, but there's no sense in hammering it out to where you're constantly calling each other names and not willing to listen. Um, so that's why I would say never contribute negatively, especially online. There's no, I mean, especially online.
And
You
this
have
is
a lot
kind
of
of like
trolls.
a place I have that experience too, which is great. Like it's you don't even know if necessarily you are talking to a real account or a real person with those point of views, but at the same time, coming at somebody with, with daggers is going to concrete their point of view instead of open the ability to find a middle ground, which 90% of the conversations you and I have, Randy, we just talk in the middle, man. We're not
For
screaming
sure.
at each other. We can have the like, okay, I can kind of see where you're coming from there if I like think of it from that point of view, even if I don't agree with it, like I can see why you might think that way, which that's all we're trying to do is meet in the middle. So that way, what you believe in and what I believe in, oddly enough, helps out the majority of the people at the end of the day. I mean, I think we've figured out that out now several times in conversations we've had over the last few months.
Yeah, for sure. And
So, yeah,
without trying to take too much time into that, that's coming up. Exactly what you were talking about. After we get done with these unwritten rules, we'll definitely do a deep dive. So that was never contribute negatively, especially online. Have respect. For fuck's sake, have respect. If you are constantly giving a negative outlook on life, nobody's ever going to take you seriously. Um, Even though the social media platform out there and the mass media platform, which we'll get to that here in a bit, they make their money based on the clicks, and negative information always gets people's attention over popular or positive information.
there's a
Don't
reason the
fall into the
National
trap.
Enquirer is the longest running magazine, right?
Yeah. Just don't fall into the damn trap, for sure. All right, so the next one is a big one. I love this one. Take action because it's right, not because it's popular. That's called motherfucking integrity. Doing the right thing, even or especially when others can't see you. I mean, don't play the popular game. I don't even know why people are trying to impress others that are out there that have no direct um, influence on their life. You know what I mean? Why would you try to keep it up with the Joneses? You know what I mean? That's a quick way to go broke. And that's also, if you're going with what's popular, that means that you have no personal belief system to stand on. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for everything. So take action because it's right, not because it's popular.
And not just what's right, but what you feel is right.
It should be your personal belief system. Yes.
Yeah.
But I
And
think there's also a part of that too that like if there is a provided guideline that is known to be like, for instance, I'm sure good and tight works for a lot of things, but if it's got a torque spec and it's really important, you should probably use the torque spec, right?
For sure.
It's like, so it's like it does have that personal opinion part, but it's like it's about like, for instance, the eye pressure machines in eye health have to be calibrated once a month. You have to check them. I made sure that they were all checked just because it affects the patients. I didn't care who was assigned to the job. They needed to be checked. It doesn't matter, right? You just get the job done. And that's kind of like the aspect here is doing it the right way, but also not waiting for somebody else to do it if it's something that you can do, right?
yeah.
Right.
Now I
I
did
say
find.
that.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Go ahead, Randy.
No, you first, bro. Go ahead.
No, as I say, because Sean Ryan, another podcaster and everything like that, he had this one quote and stuff from one is the right thing is often the hardest thing to do, and doing the right thing can still have consequences, but that doesn't mean it was the wrong thing to do.
Of course not. There's always going to be consequences for your actions, which is one of the bigger problems I have with society today. They think they can do whatever they want, and that's most people, right or left of the aisle, without having to pay a consequence for that. Stick with what you believe in, and do what's right for you and your family, and move from there. Um, I don't want to go too far into that. That's going to take away from what we have on the big discussion a little bit later. But take action because it's right, not because it's popular. Have integrity. That leads into another one here in a bit. This is a big one. This comes from bikers, believe it or not, but it is definitely a rule or an unwritten rule for being a man, and that is part of the problem that we have in society today. To get respect, you must first give it. Now, I'm not saying that respect isn't earned. Of course, respect is earned, but you have to give that basic respect to somebody else in order for you to receive it. So if you're coming off like an asshole, expect to get the asshole treatment right back. I mean, you have to give respect first. Another one that I really like with the to get respect, you must first give it, is how you treat others in your workplace or even out in town. Treat the janitor the same way you would treat the CEO. You don't know what they're going through, where they've come from. This might be that first job they're trying to do in order to catapult to the next level and keep going from there. Treat every job like it's the only job you'll ever have. Be the best at that job, because if that is also a big respect thing. You got to respect the employer. They're the one that's giving you the job. I mean, they put the risk out there to start this company. Um, if the company goes down the tubes, you, the employee, can always look for another job. That business is done. But still, always, to get respect, you must first give it. What do you guys think?
You want to go,
Yeah.
Chris, or you want me to?
No, go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say, I think the line, like you said, is fine. I believe it boils down to treat others how you want to be treated, kind of thing. But the moment they are not treating you how you're treating them, like, definitely don't continue to put yourself in that position. Find ways to address it and move forward, either hopefully positively, and it's not going to end up in a fist fight, something like that, because that's usually where things end up going. The only other one that I think that is difficult is with the employer part, and the only reason I say that is because I completely agree with you. And there's definitely protections, employers have in insurance and stuff like that to help them cover their butt a little bit. But at the same time, it's just become so difficult to find a job nowadays with everything that's happening with like these, different bot farms and how they have AI screening resumes, that it's not always as easy as it might seem. But the principle is there of like, always make sure that you're performing at your job. And yeah, if your boss asks you to do a little extra, stop complaining, just do it. That's what, I mean, you get taught in just about every important aspect of employment in like specific sectors like healthcare and stuff like y'all do. Like, it's important to pay attention and do the stuff that you are required of you, but also to not let mistakes happen by leaving work undone. And that's
Right?
how you can give back to your employer too, is by never letting them go to bed worrying about like, oh, did this person do their job? Well, I'm not worried about this person doing their job, because most of the time they're doing half of this person's job too. That's the person I got to be worried about, right? You take responsibility for your own actions in order to get into that position, But that's my opinion on it.
Well, no, I totally agree. But with to add on to what you were just saying, respect is a two-way street. That's what we're saying. To get respect, you must first give it. That's employee up to the employer. That's also from the employer down to the employee. I mean, it's how you expect to keep those people employed for you, doing a good job, making you, the profits or whatever. If you're not respecting that person, they're going to eventually leave. And
Exactly.
that's the same way with most relationships. Even if it's just an acquaintance or it's a friend or it's blood relationship, whatever, it's a two-way street. Of course, don't put up with a complete disrespect deal. I'm more along the lines talking about, if you want to get that respect when you're first meeting somebody or you're doing that first interview or whatever,
Yeah.
you have to give the respect first. Yes, sir. Yes,
Million
ma'am.
percent.
No, sir. No, ma'am. That kind of junk.
1,000,000%.
What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, and it's not just respect for the person, but also respect for the time and what they're sacrificing for, to help you out and everything, not just a job, but just, yeah, respecting the time, the effort, and everything like that.
Yeah. So to get respect, you must first give it. And like I was saying, treat the janitor the same way you treat the CEO. If you got somebody coming up to your table and they're taking your order and stuff, be respectful about it. Don't immediately turn into a fucking Karen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if they have a little bit of an attitude, maybe they just had 45 tables and got stiffed on their tips and they're just stressed out. Like, it's not you. You're gonna get good service still. They just might not like talk as bubbly as they typically do, right? It's like, I've been in those jobs before too. It's difficult, but it's a good
Yeah,
point.
it is difficult, but people also need to understand that if they're having a bad day, don't take it to the
Can't
next
show
table,
that to your
because that's just
clients. Yeah, that's the hard part too. It's where the
you're gonna
self-respect thing and stuff. Yeah,
it's gonna spiral out of control,
one million
especially as
percent.
a dude. Um, if you have personal issues and shit like that, do not bring it to fucking work, for God's sake. You want to talk to your boys about it, great. But let's say you decide to shut down and now you don't want to work that day or whatever. Now you're compounding the situation. If you have a bad day at home with the wife or whatever, or with the kids, and you bring it to work and you don't want to work anymore, blah, 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 blah. Well, what happens if you lose that job?
Not really supporting them, are you?
No, you ain't supporting anything anymore. Now
Yeah,
you're doubly fucked.
yeah.
It's game over at that point. You got to look for something else. So not only did you have the stress of that interaction with your family or your friends or whatever you're dealing with, now you have that monetary value hanging over your head. How am I going to pay the rent? All that kind of junk. If I get let go because I'm constantly letting my personal life interfere with my business life or my work life.
Right. Think about
For most
the future possibilities with that company you're throwing away by, you know, acting like that or by bringing that stuff in. It's like you don't know what your future possibility could have been with that position if you didn't act like that, because that's the scenario you're finding yourself in with your own behavior. Like you got to check yourself, you know?
well, I mean, that comes with being a man. I mean, you you just got to suck it up and keep on going, man. You can't quit. Don't quit. Um, just keep on going. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. And what I really respect about most blue collar men out there is when shit gets real at home, they throw themselves at work. I'm not saying that's always a good way to cope, but most blue collar dudes that I know don't just quit; they just keep working. Um, that may not always work out, but it definitely keeps a bad situation from getting worse.
It's the right coping tool to deal with something that, you know, otherwise would come out in a way that would be detrimental to your situation. You know, you start flipping out over something because you have, you know, tense emotions instead of throwing yourself into a project where you can actually take that negativity and build something positive out of it. Like that, in my opinion, that's what you should be doing, is throwing yourself into something that you can actually, like, I don't build something or fix something or create something or throw yourself into something that makes it easier for yourself around the house. Because what else are you gonna do with that energy? Yell it in the at the clouds? Like, that does not, it's not gonna help anything.
We're
So it's
definitely going
just,
to have to come back. We're definitely going to come back to that, dude, because that's another big deal that's out there, especially with men today. Um, Society, back in the old days when dad was growing up or my great grandfather was growing up, even when I was growing up, I ain't no spring chicken, like Chaplin likes to remind me. Back in those days, expressing feeling and emotion was not something that you were applauded for. Let me just put it that way. But I think that had a lot to do with the fact that men back then were the sole income, sole provider, and that was how we compartmentalized everything. You know, don't take your personal life, add it to your professional life, and now you have two things fucked up. It was more stoic, show that it doesn't affect you that much, and come up with a game plan to fucking fix it. That doesn't mean you're weak or cold or anything like that. You just ain't got time for the bullshit, you know? So to get respect, you must first give it. The next one that we found online, go the extra mile and make it personal. Instead of texting, which I really like this one, instead of texting, pick up the phone. Call that person. Um, Generally, it's better if you can actually have that conversation face to face. That makes it more personal for people. Constantly texting each other back and forth doesn't add that personal flair to it. And then with a lot of stuff that's out there these days, people lose the actual meaning behind the message when they're reading it online. They don't know your tone, your facial expressions, your body language, whatever. I mean, yeah, if I'm texting my boys and shit, they pretty well know what's coming across that screen and probably hear my tone without me having to be there. But for a lot of the other people, be a grown ass man, say it to their face. That's what it comes down to. Be a grown ass man and say it to their face. Also figures, that also feeds back into the whole respect thing. Don't be a keyboard warrior. Go directly to the person and say it, or on the phone and say it. Listen to how their viewpoints and try to hear it from a outside looking in. Don't automatically assume it's an attack. We have no idea where that person is coming from. That's why it's better to go the extra mile and make it personal. What do you guys
I
think?
completely I completely agree. If you translate that to like things that I think a lot of people would understand is like how AI ingrained itself in business stuff with like these AI sales things. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure a lot of them really work. But the main reason why I won't use them is because I know if I'm going to try to find somebody that I want to market for, number one, I want to find the right person. I want to make sure that they have a business that they care about and that I'll be happy to help them grow. But I'm going to go have that conversation face to face, especially if they're local, or I'm going to pick up the phone and call them. And then when I have that first meeting, it's going to be a Zoom call so they can see my face, because all these text and email things get blasted out so fast that they're almost inundated with the information. So showing up and showing who you are and how you speak can sometimes even make or break the difference between getting a job, right? We all have preconceived notions, and like if you come off, really non-confident over like in person, but you come off really confident in text, they're not going to think they're talking to the same person, right? So you have to show up how you actually are. Don't hide behind like the text messages and stuff like that, especially for important things. Like be there to shake the hand, like you said before.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And that's how you keep relationships and you grow relationships. If you're constantly texting back and forth, they're not going to be that strong.
Not at all.
All right, so that's to go the extra mile and make it personal. A big one that Chaplin came up with. Chaplin, go ahead and you know what I'm looking at here?
Yeah, learn to live within your
Yep.
means.
Go ahead. You nail that one, brother.
Yeah, it's just especially in today's society and everything like that, with the expense of everything like that. Know you just to know what your paycheck is, and as the guy Dan we work with and stuff like that, right? If you work a job, you get hourly, live on your hourly pay, don't live on your overtime and stuff like that. Save that away and everything. But just, and you said earlier, like you don't need to keep up with the Joneses. Live within your means, and that means Randy within his means, Mike within his means, and my family within my means, and everything like that. The means is different for everyone and stuff like that. But in today's society, you see it so much is just everyone and all the affirm and pay, buy now, pay later and stuff like that. It all gets you at the end and stuff like that. And you just need to stop and, hey, does this fit within my budget? And budgets aren't sexy, but again, it's what, you need to do for yourself and your family.
Now, for those of you out there that are first-time listeners, first-time watchers, I would encourage you to go back and look at our last podcast where we interviewed a man that does his whole life is financial planning, and listen to what he has to say. This is a big one, especially in today's society. Learn to live within your means. Um, Again, don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Who the fuck are you trying to impress anyway? I mean, impress your family, impress your friends, and by impress, I mean with your character. Don't try to impress them with monetary shit. What good does that do you? Material. What good does it? Now, I'm not trying to say don't treat yourself and get the stuff that actually means something to you. But just because Bobby Sue bought a brand new truck down the street and your truck is just fine, don't put yourself in another hole if you're already struggling to begin with and get a new fucking truck. What is that? What did you do? Um, Definitely learn to live within your means. People want to go on vacations and shit all the time. I mean, well, people want to go on vacations and shit. We'll just put it that way. Date nights and that kind of stuff. Well, if you put yourself in such a goddamn hole that you're not able to make your responsibilities, you took out the money, you used a credit card, you got the loan. If you're not able to pay it, that's on you. You should be always stick to your word. And that, I know that's another one in here, another one of the rules, but live within your means. Otherwise, you're going to struggle nonstop. You're never going to get out of problems. And like we were talked about in that last episode, a lot of divorces or most divorces are caused over financial shit. You both have to come down with a game plan, come up with a game plan on what you're going to spend and why. Otherwise, you are going to fail horribly. You run the risk of losing everything. If you spent your whole life trying to get that fucking house, and then once you got it, now you're still spending more money on top of that. If you lose if you can't pay your bills, you're going to lose every fucking thing. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Learn to live
Well, as
within
well
your
as it's a
means.
perpetuating cycle too, because you're spending that money, it means you have to work more. Then you're working more, you're not at home with your wife, kids, and everything like that, significant other. So again, it perpetuates it and stuff. Then, then resentment starts because, let's just say your significant other's spending the money and everything. Well, then you're having to do all the work to cover it. And again, that can start being resentment and stuff because you're having to spend time away where you just want to chill at home, spend some quality time with the family and everything. So that could be another source of problems.
For sure, I don't want to be at work all the goddamn time, but I do what I have to. I make sure my family is fed before I am. That's called being
And
a
I'm my
man.
own boss, and I don't want to be at work all the time. Like it's
For sure.
but it's also one of those things where it's like you definitely have to in today's day and age to really pay attention to your finances, because if you don't, like, we don't live in rollback Walmart era anymore, right? Like, rent costs are huge. Like, you look at how this situation was created, and you can't really justify, the Dyson vacuum cleaners and hair dryers. Like, don't get me wrong, you have a dispensable income, buy whatever you want, who cares? But if
For
you're
sure.
actually in a situation where you have to be conscientious of what you're doing, you have a family, you have kids, you have to save for their future, your own future. What's going to happen when you're 70 and you work, maybe you're self-employed blue collar and you don't have a 401k you've been investing into this whole time, right? You're just living off of the jobs that you can. You have to think for the future. But I think there's a part of it when it comes down to the loan aspect. I definitely agree. Credit cards, cars, you know what you got. You signed on the line. Yeah, variable rates and all that stuff suck, but that's why they've put in the fine print that your rate moves with the market, right? Market sucks, you're gonna have a huge rate. Market's not so shitty, you're gonna have a low rate. I think the only difference is, again, when the other side of the party doesn't follow through on their side of the bargain, and it's only in specific circumstances, like what happened with me with the school I went to in the Caribbean. They were having a bunch of accreditation issues. I couldn't even get out loans to continue going to school because of their issues. So I had to make the smart decision to stop going to that school and become something with my life and change things around a bit to, again, become successful. But they certified a school that had accreditation issues from the beginning. They lied to all of their students, and it was a massive student loan company who vetted the school. But then when I told them what happened, they said, well, we certified you, not the school. And here's where my disagreement comes in. I can't put your address in on their website and say that it's a school and get a loan. They have to have a relationship and a partnership with the school saying, okay, I know these students are like going to become graduates, and the chance of me getting my return back on my investment with this school. But because of what happened with the school, in my opinion, they should have been the ones held responsible, not even the loan company. But I do think the loan company should have done a better job at, researching who they were. But then again, so should have I, right? Like, there's always fault in the whole thing. But again, you point blame around instead of just handling it. And you're just going to be stuck in constantly pointing fingers at everybody else. Right. So it's like it's a hard situation, but I think as long as you're living up to your end of the bargain when you clearly know what you signed up for, 100%. But I think if somebody is trying to take advantage of you by saying they're going to provide something they're not, then you should definitely fight it, obviously.
For
Unique
sure. For
situations.
sure. Oh, absolutely. I think more along what I think of when I think of live within your means is I'm getting older. I've got 2 kids and a wife. Now, what happens if something happens to me down the road? I get sick or I get hurt or whatever. If I have overloaded my ass with debt, my family's going to suffer because I'm not there. I would rather, I'm not saying work yourself to absolute death, but you definitely should be paying attention to what you're spending money on. I don't know how to be any more clear than learn to live within your means. Um, if you're a 2-person income household, my advice is one goes to paying the bills, and anything left over goes into some kind of investment account, um, or at least like an emergency fund, rainy day fund, whatever the hell you want to call it. Just so if something does happen, you've got money put away to cover. Not everybody can do this, but at least a year's worth of off time. That's my thing. Now, the other person's income, use that for real investments or going out and having fun. You want to go on vacations, use that other account for that. But that's a man and a woman coming up with a game plan on how their finances are going to work. And a lot of people just don't talk. And I don't understand that. If you just let shit go and you're both getting mad and resentful about how the finances are going, it's not just one of your fault, it's both of your fault. And as a man, you've got to put it out there and say, this is how much money we make. This is how much money I make. This is how much money you make. This is our expenses, our living expenses. And then this is how much debt we have, and come up with a game plan to get out of that, because that ain't your own life at that point. You owe your life to the bank. And it's pretty hard to get out of that, but you have to look at it as, if something happens to me, what happens to the family? Or if I'm getting older and that company that I'm working with goes tits up, are people still going to hire me? Most likely not. I mean, I hate to say it, but most companies look at 65 and up as we're not going to get a whole lot of work out of you.
Or
it's
they
hard
might
to get
not
those
understand
jobs.
the systems well enough because they were ingrained in that job for however many years and built an entire like career at that specific place with their specific processes. So are they even going to be able to understand how to come over to like our training program? That's something I've experienced in my training roles in the past too, where it's just been difficult for them to understand the difference in process.
I've seen that as being a combat vet myself, bro. And I don't even have to be old for that. Even though companies say they don't do this shit, I know damn well they do this shit because I hear it on the inside when I work for other companies. It's if you're a military way of thinking, they don't want you hurting other people's fucking feelings, and you have to learn how to keep your mouth shut. Like my language, it's terrible. I'm aware. Um, I'm also as blue collar and country as it gets. Um, know your audience. That's what it comes down to. If you're like your buddies, your friends, if you're out and about, if you're like secluded in an area, run your mouth however the hell you want to run your mouth. But if you're saying it and somebody walks by, it's no longer a private conversation anymore, and you will get hemmed up based on what you say. So you really have to watch your mouth. But we're getting off the topic there. Learn to live within your means. Don't want to be broke? Don't be broke. I mean, for a lot of people, that's easier said than done. Just take a step back, retreat, do a budget, figure it out, find out exactly where your money's going, come up with a plan to get out of debt. But for the love of God, come up with a plan to stay out of debt other than what's necessary. Learn to live within your means. Don't try to impress people because odds are they're not going to be there when you die anyway. Try to keep it to your family, your friends, and your close relationships.
Well, it'll teach you how to value. Also, you'll learn how to value what you have and everything too.
The
Because
value
if
of
you're
the
just
dollar.
always buying stuff and everything, you're not truly valuing what you have.
For sure.
And it's not
And then
just
you're
things, people, time, and everything.
Well, that's
and
what
then if you
social
don't
media gives us in gratification. We just expect that to kind of translate to every aspect of our life, and it's just not the reality, you know? It's
amen.
not. Not
Yeah.
when the $5 footlong is $14.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and cover that one before we get into the next part anyway. That social media thing that you were just talking about and instant gratification. Um, yeah, we're with it, Toxically Mail. Yes, we're doing do-it-yourself programs and all that kind of stuff, teaching how to work on stuff around the house, save you some money because it's getting harder out there, especially with the lack of trade skills that are out there. Shit's going to get more expensive unless we come up with another game plan. You are not going to be able to afford to have people come out to your house and work on the stuff. That's what we're here for. That's what Toxically Mail is for. But on the other take, or on the other hand, um, this is kind of like being an influencer. We're the anti-influencer because I will never, or we will never, represent our products or services that are not legit. I mean, I'm not going to take money from somebody that's trying to panhandle their work clothes when they don't last more than a month or they're fucking terrible. You know what I mean? Um, the instant gratification shit out there when you're watching a lot of these influencers, and you got to watch your kids when they're doing this too. They're getting a lifestyle idea that is not fucking realistic. It's fake. Most of them are fucking fake. You can go all over the online and find out where people are basically lying about their situation. I travel all the time and all this kind of shit, and they're using AI, Photoshop, or just well placed props to make them look like they're living a lifestyle that they're not living. I'm
I saw
driving
this
this
one creator had a
Lamborghini.
green screen in her closet. Made it look
What's
like she
up?
was on. I saw this one
Yeah.
creator. She had a green screen in her closet, and she like showed like a background thing on how like she was doing everything. I was like, well, hey, if you can take it, but it's not moral in my opinion to do that. I mean, you're not taking money directly from people unless like they're donating to you and buying those products, but it's just still it's the affiliate aspect of things that you have to always stand by products that you're going to use like in your daily life, and that's what again you want to promote because you wouldn't be promoting a hoodie if after it washes the first time all the color falls out, the logo falls out, and the drawstring flies out into the washer somewhere, causing you for a washer bill now, right? So it's important to promote products that you actually would use, or companies that you actually believe in and interact with them, right?
So what I'm basically saying is don't fall for the trap when it comes to social media. All right. So that one was learn to live within your means. All right. So the next one, oh, Chris, the young you, go ahead and read that one.
Yeah, just along the lines of living within your means and everything. And again, with pensions not going away or anything, and it's an unwritten rule that young you needs to save for old you for the retirement. I mean, it is a way of life, even if it's $20, $5, something. As the saying goes, right? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time today.
Right. For sure.
I think that's the whole reason a lot of those like penny investment apps and spare change investment apps came out a while back. But then obviously it's another like subscription fee over time kind of thing. I think they were playing into it. I'm not 100% sure if I could be wrong about that, but I think that's where a lot of that stuff started coming in because people weren't afraid to enter the market with pocket change, but it was still this like I'm sure the company who's investing that money too is getting a piece of it. Like I'm pretty sure it said that in the fine print for like a couple different apps that I tried in the past. So yeah, it's like make sure you know what you're doing and save for yourself instead of just following with the Joneses again and getting this next app that's going to help you invest. Like just do your research and figure it out and talk to the right people in your community who have actually physically done this before instead of listening to an advertisement for something silly, right?
Yeah,
For sure.
just save.
And yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was going to get at. The internet. Um, I'm a fan of the internet. A lot of people are fans of the internet. And the problem I've got with the internet and social media is sometimes I think it's doing more harm than good. Um, 10 years ago, and this is what I was saying, you guys have heard me say this before. 10 years ago, our cell phone, the computing power in that cell phone took up a whole goddamn building, not just a room, a whole fucking building. We have access to all of humanity's knowledge at the touch of our fingers. And most of us, most of the people out there are too busy surfing through shit that's not fucking real, um, shit that only promotes their fucking narrative, and then shit like porn, cat videos, and stuff like that. It's not about getting better. It's not about enriching yourself or enriching your family. It has become that doom scroll that everybody talks about.
It's
That's
addictive doom scroll too, right? Like
it's
people just
addictive.
don't stop once they get stuck in it. They don't listen to the reality of the situation where, um, Shaggy Chad 415, for their username is probably not going to be the best person to take, financial advice from or find the right place online to find it. Like he's just a content creator. So don't take like do your own research and check like understand what you're looking at before you formulate your own opinion. And like you said, we have these supercomputers in our pocket. Social media is not a reliable resource for you to use on like a term paper, so probably not a good one for you to formulate your opinion on, right? Definitely take little pieces of it if you agree with certain parts, but then go factually check it and make sure that the information you got was accurate and not, a, just a bunch of glitter. Because you agreed with it and it was a little bit vulgar enough for it to catch your attention and stop like, the goldfish attention span that we all tend to have as we're scrolling through TikTok.
Right, for sure. Yeah, you don't want to use this to formulate your life strategy for sure.
Thank you.
Because a lot of people, when they do stuff, especially with the internet being all about monetization, same thing with media, same thing with mass media, which we'll get into later. It's all about the clicks, it's all about the interaction, it's all about the likes, followers, subscribes, which, of course, here at Toxically Mail, we want the same thing, but we're just trying to get that information out to everybody, not just a few select people. So the more people that we get interacting, the more we can put it out there. And it's not just about putting money in my pocket. You know what I mean? Because a lot of media out there is not factually correct. It's just trying to make you mad. Doesn't matter what you're mad at as long as it makes you mad. Because if you're mad, you're going to interact. You'll type your fucking response to some dude that probably don't even fucking exist on the other side of the fucking planet just so you get enough interaction that he can start selling ads online or whatever they're going to use for monetization. Don't fall for the trap. I mean,
Yeah, just
uh,
liking and commenting on it can provide them with some level of income if things are, monetized, of course. And it's like, why do you think that a lot of the traditional broadcasting and marketing followed suit over to streaming services, and you start seeing a lot of these traditional advertisers now on your social media because they know that's where the money is.
hmm,
right? So
That's
if that's the case for the national brands, you better believe everybody else who is willing to exploit that is going to do it, right?
that's the psychology behind it, right? I mean, it's crazy.
It is.
Um, you know, for example, I know a lot of people are falling into these traps where they want to do affiliate marketing and all these stay-at-home jobs and stuff like that. Now, if you get into something like that, more power to you, and you're making money, keep on making money. That's great. But the biggest thing with business and the biggest thing with your job market, you're going to get paid based on the needs of your skill set. If nobody wants your skill set, or there's too many people with that skill set, you're not going to get paid that much. The money, how much you get paid, depends on the rarity and the quality of your fucking work. So the reason I bring that up is if I'm trying to sell you a class on how to beat me at my own business, that business probably doesn't exist. You know, the affiliate marketing things that they got out there with Amazon drop shippers and all that kind of junk. People trying to sell those courses. You're not going to create your own competition. If you do, you're fucking stupid.
I hate to say
Um,
it like this too. That brings up a good point about the affiliate marketing thing too, especially when it comes down to like the programs that you're talking about, the drop shipping stuff, is that 90% of the time the information they're giving you is not the actual like current tactics that are really being used. They'll be sprinkled in there a little bit so you can get some value from it and you can see some traction, but then you'll always have to pay for that upper level program to just get the next bit of information that they're not actually using at the top level where they're making their money. And everything seems to just be payment gated. And if there's so many people who are able to sign up for that program, I'm sorry, there's just not enough money to go around if it works for everybody, right? It
of
is it
course.
any
I mean,
different than a pyramid scheme at that point? Depending on the company, because I do know that there's like some affiliate stuff that you know, like Groupon is essentially kind of an affiliate thing. You get a bunch of people together and it's something, right? It might save you some money here or there. It might be like a discount code for a product that you actually like. Like maybe it's a set of like really nice ratcheting wrenches, right? Like maybe that's worth it for the affiliate side. But the plug and play, rinse and repeat, oh, sell trips through this travel agency and you can work from home, or you know, start faceless YouTube channels. None of that
yeah,
stuff's gonna work.
yeah, you're just giving your money away at that point. I mean, this all factors into the live within your means and what Chris was just saying about you need to start saving for your retirement. You know, the older you is going to thank the younger you. Don't buy into the fucking bullshit. It's that fucking easy.
You don't need a coach.
Companies do like competition because that's how the market fluctuates and it causes innovation. Because if you're both doing the same thing and neither of you are trying to get better, then you just stagnate and nothing progresses. Um, but don't fall for the stupid tricks of giving your money away to somebody else that really doesn't want you to have money in the first place. They want your money. They ain't trying to make you money. They want your money. Um, if you're going to better yourself, find out what's out there that is actually making money and go into that. Because if it's a get rich quick, if it sounds too good to be true, it most likely is. A fool and his money are soon parted. Don't try to go for the easy way. If it's easy, everybody'd be doing it. Um, if everybody was a millionaire, nobody would be a millionaire. You know, that's not how this works. That's not how anything works. Um, and also to go back to kind of live within your means. I'm not saying that people can't have luxury items because luxury items are there for a reason because they're rare. You know, it's not everybody can have them. It's a status deal at that point. And some of them aren't even that high quality. It just has a name behind it. Oh, cool, awesome, fantastic. I want it because of its usability, not, you know, just because of the name. But um, you just have to really be careful with what you're doing when it comes to these situations. Stick with what you believe in. Don't just give your money away to somebody else and don't try to make it um, easy. I mean, I wouldn't say easy, but don't fall for the get rich quick schemes. Um, find out what's marketable and try to move your skill set in that direction. I mean, like Toxically, man, we're talking about trade skills. We're all sitting on gold mines right now. We just got to find a way to get into it. I mean, especially for the younger crowd, you know, find your way. Um, because again, if you know, like I had said in earlier podcasts, my generation made a big fucking mistake. We told our kids you can be anything you want to because we were the last ones that had it hard, and we didn't want our kids to grow up the same way that we did. You move into the white collar jobs and be the boss. Well, the problem is not everybody can be the fucking boss. So when you start running out of those trade skill programs to where they're actually skilled labor, oh boy, supply and demand. The supply is high and the demand is low, the shit's going to be dirt cheap. If the supply is low and the demand is high, shit's going to get expensive. And that's how you pretty much have to, live your life with what you're going to do. Always try to be better. Find that, if you're a welder, try to find that next qualification that's coming down the pipeline. Read the fucking papers, watch the videos, see what's coming from these companies. Same thing with electricians, same thing with carpenters. Any trade skill out there, stay up and coming, stay relevant. Because otherwise, if you're the dog that's doing the same old trick over and over and over again, eventually nobody's going to want to see your trick anymore.
And I think the thing that people
Now,
don't realize
okay.
is that like when they invest in themselves like that, when they get into that skill set, it's not like, oh, if you want to become an electrician, it's like, oh, electrical. It's like there's so many sub niches of all these different professions that you can specialize into that you can always find another one to do and not have to change up your entire career because you're now specialized in another aspect that just makes you more valuable too.
Well, the big thing is when you're choosing your career, I'd said this before too. Don't choose underwater basking weaving. You're only going to get paid and you're only going to make money if somebody wants to buy your product or they want your service. If it's not something that a lot of people want, don't expect to make a lot of money. It's not going to happen. You have to go into fields that people need and want, or you have to find some way to market it to where everybody wants it. There's a movie out there when they were talking about making lemonade. When life hands you lemons, what are you going to do with it? And the other guy goes, make lemonade. And the other guy that was asking the question said, no, I'm going to start a marketing campaign where everybody wants lemons. It's always showing that these people have lemons. I'm buying up all the lemons so I control the stock, and then I make lemonade when everybody has to have it. But those type of get rich quick, I wouldn't say get rich quick, but those type of get rich schemes are just that. It's a fucking scheme. You're taking people's money out of their pocket by selling a fucking lie. I'll never respect that shit, man. And most men out there, you shouldn't either. I mean, do what you want, but I wouldn't respect that shit. All right, so we already covered those. All right, here's the good one. Another good one. Protect what matters, forget the rest. Family, friends, relationships. Stick with what you can control. What did you put on here, Chris? You only have,
Just
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, you only have so many fucks to give. Figure out
Yep.
what fucks are important to you, and then give them for that.
Yeah, there's songs out there for it. I have no fucks to give and all that kind of junk. You just got to protect what matters, like it says, forget the rest. I mean, if you're constantly getting mad over a bunch of shit, you're just going to stay mad all the time. Stick with what you control. I mean, if it's something that happens to you, you can't control it. I mean, get irritated or whatever. Don't focus on it. Don't move on to something you can fix, something you can control. And if it's something that you just got to get away from, well, then fucking move. Get mad at what you can. I mean, don't stay mad at things that you can't control. Otherwise, you're going to be mad all the time.
You control
Protect what
your own
matters.
pressure relief valve.
Yeah, for sure. Your family's what matters. They're going to be there when you die. That's what matters. All your memories are going to come from your family and friends, and all their memories are going to come from you. It's a cycle. Stick with what makes sense. No one ever sits there on their deathbed and goes, you know what? I would have rather worked more. No, I would have rather had more time with my kids or my wife or something else. Protect what matters. Everything will happen. Everything else will have it happen as it's going to happen, whether you do something about it or not. And that's also comes to with another reason why we started Toxically Male. Talk is cheap, man. You can tell people all day that this is what you believe and this is what you do. Actions speak louder than words. If you want to change the world, uh, start with your friends and your family. Show them that there's a better way to live. If they don't want to deal with it, then fuck off with it. Don't try to force your views on people. But if you think you have a great way to live, show them. Don't preach to them. Show them. And it just might happen that like out of your 12 friends, you influence 9. Well, they've got 12 friends too or more, and they go out and influence those, and it spreads like wildfire at that point. You want to change the world? Don't get on social media and try to change the planet at one time. Start with your family and your friends, show them a better way to live, make it work, and then go from there. If it works for them, they're going to start doing it, and other people are going to be watching them like, how did you do that? Well, I stuck with what matters. My family, my friends, and my relationships. I'm trying to make their lives better. and they're going to do the same thing generally. You guys got anything else on protect what matters? No.
No, I can go there.
Oh, here's another one. Man out there, never take her to the movies on the first date. Never take her to the movies on the first date. Um, I don't really understand that one, but that's fine. I mean,
Well,
I'd rather
so
be
no, it's simple, right? You take if you take someone you're interested in to a movie, right? You don't have a chance to interact with her.
that's what I was getting ready to say.
You're both watching something, right? Take her to a park. Take her where you can find where you can interact and show her your interest in her and you can find out about her. You can tell her about yourself and everything like that, right? Coffee,
Mhm.
even a club or something like that, right? You can't interact. It's all about that personal interaction and stuff. Show her that you're interested in her and everything. It doesn't have to be an expensive date or anything like that. You listen to her, right? Find out what her interest is. And if she's, I don't know, let's just say she's some author, she's interested as an author, and they're having a display of that author, take her to that bookstore, right? Then you can talk to her about it, find out what excites her and
Mm.
everything. And then, so,
That way, yes, that way you can sit down and connect, talk in a place that you can actually talk. And I'm going to say this that it happens to most dudes. Stop chasing tens when you don't know anything about her. I mean, always. I mean, if you're attracted to her, then yes, awesome, fantastic. But looks are going to fade over time. You're going to be left with that personality, and vice versa. Women that are watching this, stop chasing dudes that are just attractive and have a lot of money. Personality is going to be what you grow old with, unless you guys decide to divorce. And divorce should not be as easy as it is. This is not teaching us anything about conflict resolution or how to deal with relationships. Life is rewarded by the memories that you make. That's what makes you rich. Your memories and what made you happy. That's what makes you rich, not money. I mean, yeah, money's nice. Don't get me wrong. I love money, but um, money's not going to support you on your deathbed, like I keep saying. If you're going to have a relationship with somebody, sit down and get to know them. Let that guard down. Don't wear the mask all the time. Men and women both. Take the mask off.
Say the
Unless you're
wrong
just
thing and fuck up. Don't be afraid to open your mouth. And just if you say the wrong thing, be like, oh, that came out weird. Don't be afraid to trip over your words. It's a nervous thing where you're getting to know somebody, especially like when you're interested in them. You want to know about them, but maybe no questions come to your head. Just open your mouth, ask
talk about it.
questions, and then listen, right?
Talk about it. If you
If
guys
she doesn't like who you are, they don't like who you are because of what you said was too goofy or too weird, guess what? In 50 years, it's still going to be goofy and weird. Maybe that ain't the right person, right? If it's
right,
to that level, obviously that important, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I mean, don't try to impress people with lies. Actually, put yourself out there. Um, and
Don't be afraid to say, I
shit,
don't know.
that too. Oh, there's nothing more dangerous than a person that thinks they know everything, because most likely they know very little. But yes, take her out someplace to where you can talk and sit there and talk about it. And women that are listening, don't just expect to be taken to a fucking five-star restaurant on the first time. I mean, shit. You know, you have to build up to that point. You know what I mean? You need to get to know somebody, know if your personalities mesh, your belief systems mesh, and all that kind of, and what compromises you can make. Don't waste all of your time. Don't waste yours or hers or her. Don't waste his time with a lie. Be upfront and what makes you tick? What do you really like? What makes you mad? I mean, shit, how people deal with anger is pretty goddamn important. That woman or that man might seem like the greatest thing since sliced bread until you piss them off, and then, oh shit, vindictive as fuck or violent or whatever. You know, you got to talk about what is actually important to you.
well as pay attention to how they treat other people, right? You go to a restaurant, how do they treat the wait staff? How do they treat, the cab driver, stuff like that, right? And if they're not a good person to them, then what's going to, that pretty much means they're not going to be a good person to you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
100%.
You got to stick with what's important. You got to stick with what's important to, to yourself and to them. Stressful situations bring out the real you pretty fucking quick. So how do they deal with it? I mean, are they going to cut and run when shit gets bad? I mean, I hate to break it to you, but most relationships, well, I would say all relationships, it's an up and down type of deal. There are going to be good days and there are going to be bad days. And are you willing to make it work through those fucking bad days and realize that your partner is not your fucking enemy?
Right. And along with that, right, when you have a good day, your partner should be the first person you want to call. When you're having a bad day, your partner should be the first one you want to call.
For sure. For sure. All right. So never take her to the movies on the first date. We got that. All right. Always look a person in the eye when you talk to them. That is a fucking fact. Yeah. Make that connection. Look them in the eye. That's called respect. You're not looking around. You're not on your fucking phone, that kind of stuff. Now, some people might look around because of the situation. You might be standing in a crowded area. They're looking to see who's walking up. They're also looking to see what's, if there are any dangers present, always, look a person in the eye if possible, especially as a man. It shows directness. It also shows confidence. Look them in the eye. What do you guys think? I mean, that's pretty cut
Yeah.
and dry.
You don't have to sit there and stare them down and everything, but when you meet them and everything, yeah, look them in the eye. And then again, if something, you can look around at that point, but yeah, when you're meeting them, look them in the eye.
Oh, this, like what?
Oh, I was just gonna say, it just goes right into, like, again, healthcare. It's a lot of times looking people in the eye and communicating with them, they can see how your mouth is moving too, and they can hear you better as well. It's just like a proper communication tactic outside of respect. It's like when you look somebody in the eye and they're focused on you, they can actually like hear you better, because
Yeah,
you're
for
not
sure.
talking over here and stuff like that. It's different.
Another one on here. Never leave a beer unfinished. I mean, that's an old deal with dudes. Never leave a beer unfinished. But like Chaplin will tell you, always know your limit. Don't make an ass out of yourself. And it's okay not to drink. I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
What else
It
you got
just,
there on that?
yeah, just, some of the stuff I have on there for that is just, yeah, I mean, well, Mike may not know, but Randy knows I love my beer and stuff like that and everything. But yeah, it's an old saying there, never leave a on beer finish, but as well, right? In today's day and age and everything, like you don't have to drink. So,
I
but
think a lot of this probably comes from the fact, like, never leave a beer unfinished, is because usually when you're out with your friends, males, one person will buy a round, the next person will buy a round. If somebody's paying for your beer, finish the beer. It's just respectful. But
yeah,
again,
in that aspect, yeah,
don't overdo it. If you know you got a limit and you're reaching that limit, stop. Especially if you're driving. Yeah,
yeah,
don't do that. Don't drink and drive. All right, that was an easy one. The way that's written online, if you're not confident, fake it will come around. Well, all of us know it. Fake it till you make it. Now, I'm not saying if you're in a job that is pretty hazardous, don't fake that shit. I mean, if you don't know, say you don't know. But if
But
if
be
you're not
real
feeling,
fucking confident in saying you don't know. Like that's the
yeah,
part of it. You know what I mean?
I would say this more along comes the line of being confident in public. Some people aren't used to public speaking. They don't like, you know, talking around a large group of people or whatever. I mean, and that's okay. I mean, I don't understand it, but that's okay. The big thing is if you want to be seen as a confident individual, well, fake it. I mean, just put it out there, put that mask on, and eventually it will become a reality. You'll realize people aren't as bad as you think they are. I
yeah.
mean,
Fake confidence is better than no confidence.
that's a fact. That's a fact. Otherwise, if you're not confident about a situation, people will take you to the fucking cleaners. That's it.
I'm a big fan of the concept your demeanor determines your mood. And the only reason I say that is because I'm only 35, but I have two herniated discs, L4L5 or L3L4 and L4L5. And I was limping around when I was working at the hospital, like delivering IV bags and stuff. And it got to a point where people were like, "Oh, how are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm here." And I was like, "I need to change that." So I started just saying like, "Oh, I'm great." And eventually it's just like I started feeling like shit less. Even though it still was painful, it's like your mentality determines a lot.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah,
Another rule that we come to here is you can tell the size of a man by the size of the things that bother him, which is true. If you're constantly losing your shit on small, inconsequential stuff, you just got anger problems, time management problems, whatever else type of problems. You were supposed to be the rock for your family and the guiding hand. So if you're constantly losing your shit over stupid shit, well, what do you think your family's going to do? I mean, I don't know much more to say about that. I mean,
Be a pillar, not a problem.
what's that? Be a pillar, not
Be
a
a
problem, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Another big one, always stand to shake someone's hand and give them a firm handshake. You see this all the time. That just shows a complete sign of disrespect and that they're not that important to you. When they walk into the room and they're going to put their hand out, or you see somebody coming over to you that you know or don't know, or they're going to be introduced to you or whatever, don't stay sitting. Stand up, shake their hand, and show that they are at least important enough for you to pay attention to. And that just shows a weak man that sits down to shake a hand. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, it's just common courtesy.
I
for
feel like
sure.
there's a good definition for a firm handshake that I like, because I feel like people kind of overdo it a lot. I feel like meeting that person's grip. You know what I mean? Like if they're gonna give me a firm handshake, I'm not gonna overpower them or like just give them my fingers, but I'm hoping that I'm also not gonna get my knuckles crushed if they want to like try to be too much about it, because I've had that situation happen before. So that's what I tend to do is I meet like whatever force they're giving me and it feels comfortable. Like, I don't know how to put it, but I hope
For
that
sure.
makes sense.
Oh, it
Yeah.
does make sense. I mean, you definitely don't want to walk up to somebody with a weak grip. I'm not saying try to crush somebody, but you should be firm, saying, "I'm here, you're there, I recognize you." Some people take it as the whole toxic side of it, where they're trying to establish dominance or whatever. No, it's just, in my opinion, it's to show that you're there, they're there, you recognize. You know what I mean? Next one, go for women out of your league. You may be surprised. I mean, I don't know how that's a rule for men, but it's a good guideline to have. I mean, it's all like you were saying, it's all about confidence. You're never going to know unless you try. The worst thing they can do is say no. Or if they want to belittle you, you just, I mean, shit, you learn your lesson then. I wouldn't say your lesson about you. I would say your lesson about them, they at least they did you the favor if they're going to be an absolute shit when you like go up and talk to them, hit on them, or whatever you're going to do. Um,
Yeah, just
there's
because
a
they're
song
out of your league and stuff like that doesn't mean go up and talk to them. Talk to them about something you're passionate about and everything. Again, the saying is like, right, you believed in Santa for years, believe in yourself for 10 seconds.
for sure, for sure. Um, there's a song out there is "Don't fall in love while they're walking away." Take the chance. You never know. Maybe you are her type. You know. The worst like I said, the worst they can do is tell you no, and if you don't try, you can't win unless you play. There you
And
go.
yet the other thing too, people like unfortunately you kind of have to get used to being told no in life. It happens more often than you hear yeses, but you can't stop fucking trying to test your opportunities, like whether it's a job or if it's, finding a special part for something that you're interested in. It's like if you can't get it, get used to hearing no. Find another way. Right? There's always another opportunity. If you take it down to like people, there's more people in a 5 mile radius around you than you could call sitting down back to back on phone numbers. There's always opportunity to meet new people, get into a community that you actually find that you like uplifts you too. Get used to hearing no, strive for the yes.
The boundaries are there. I mean, get used to them. Healthy boundaries. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes.
I don't mean to sound like a therapist, but establish healthy boundaries because otherwise you're just going to get mad nonstop. But yeah, go for what you never know. Go for women out of your league for sure. You never know. All right, we're gonna go. We're gonna do one more for now. Manliness is not only being able to take care of yourself, but others as well. I believe in that. You probably heard about people in the old days or people now. He'd give you the shirt off his back. Absolutely. Don't just take care of yourself. Stick out that helping hand to help others in need. Now, again, I'm not telling you to enable people, but be there to give that helping hand when it's asked for. Um, you never know when you're going to be in a situation when you need help too. I'd rather be known as a good man when I die than as a bad man that had a lot of fucking money. That's just my personal belief system. I will always help my friends out when they need it, and I will always help people out that are out there on the side of the road when they need it. Because you never know. Karma's a bitch. We'll just put it that way. That's a good way to put that. Karma is a bitch, and she gets paid in full and then some.
Well, as well, right? Remember, you started out at some point, sometime, right? So
Mhm.
even you felt a new coworker and stuff like that, right? You were that new person at a time and everything. So got your way to a point and everything, right? And help them out, show them the ropes, kind of deal and stuff.
I
I
like the
totally.
oxygen mask analogy where it's like, you can't put on another's oxygen mask till you put yours on first. But I like the mentality of just always wear it. And when you do need help for somebody to help you like readjust things, guess what? All those people that you've been helping, that's part of the people who are going to help you too, right? Like you were saying before, you never know when you're going to be the one who needs help. So make sure that you can provide that for others in a reliable way. Don't extend yourself beyond your ability and then not follow through, right?
I mean, yeah, for sure. And it also comes back to what we were saying before. You can't change a whole world all at one time, but you can help benefit your friends and families, show them a better way to live, and then you're going to be living around people that you know aren't going to fuck you over. That if you have a problem, they'll help you out. If they have a problem, you'll help them out. It creates a sense of trust, and everybody can rely on everybody else. But that's only if you take the time to work on yourself first. I mean, don't expect people to come running if you're. I mean, it's like that friend that is constantly, well, I wouldn't even call him a friend at that point, taking and taking and taking and taking and taking. But if you call them, they can't even drive 5 minutes to pick your ass up. That kind of shit. Be reliable, be consistent. And yeah, I'm not saying kill yourself trying to help other people, because I mean, my big thing that I've talked about quite a bit with people is the old confined space entry deal. So confined space entry, for those of you that don't know it out there, if you're working in an area that is usually airtight and only has one entrance and one exit, you'll send one person in with their gas meter or whatever, and they're going to be doing work down there, and then another person sits up at the hole, which is the exit where there's actual air and all that kind of junk. So normally they'll go down there with a respirator or whatever they think they're going to have, but there might be something in there that people just don't know. They didn't plan for it. And now all of a sudden you see that one person hit the ground. You don't know why it happened, but they fainted, passed out, whatever, hit the ground. Now, as a confined space entry person, the training that you're given is to call for help first. Don't just run in there and help that motherfucker out. Because if you do that and you don't know what's in there, now there are two people on the ground and nobody's coming to help you. That's how I think about it when it comes to helping other people out. I am all about helping others, all about it, but not at the expense of yourself. Now, I mean, I'm not saying don't take a bullet for people if it's warranted, but I'm saying that don't put yourself in the poorhouse trying to help another person out, because now you got two people that are poor and not just one. I know it sounds heartless, whatever. People have to learn. You're not, again, a real, you have to stand on your own 2 feet or you don't deserve to stand. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion. I mean, there are other opinions out there, and that's fine. Like I said, I don't force my belief system on anybody else. If I can show you a better way to live, I will. Always be willing to put a hand out to help those, behind you, if that's what you want to say, if that's how you want to put it. And you never know, you might, which is why we do Toxically Mail now anyway. I might have knowledge that another person has, they might doesn't have, and they might have knowledge that I don't have. We're exchanging knowledge here. So I might be able to help you with your car, or I might be able to help you with a motorcycle or work on your house, but you know something that I don't know, and you can help me with that now. And now, it's a win-win scenario. You know what I mean?
If everybody took the mentality of always instilling more value than you take, we'd all be helping each other out a lot more and not need to take really anything because it'd be given, right?
Oh, shit. That's one that's not even on this list. I'm glad you brought it up.
Oh, that's just my morals for my business. I always try to instill more value than I ever ask from somebody, because that's my job, right? Is to provide a good service at a reasonable cost that doesn't put people in the whorehouse. Poorhouse got a whorehouse. That was a good one. Woo! Oh
I'm
yeah,
leaving it in. We're leaving that in, bro.
they want to go there. I mean, if I'm making them enough money, I mean, by all means. But
As long
no,
as it's
the
within
point
their
is to,
meat.
yeah, the point is to always give more back, because it's like they're hiring me for that service to build them up. So if I carry that into the morals of my daily life, it just wins. Like if I'm helping out somebody, then I know that they're gonna help me out. And it's just not considered as much. So I always just try to help out. That's the value you have to take.
That's also a respect thing, bro.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
I was taught, if you rent something, leave it in the same condition or better than when you found it. If you
I
borrow
always strive
something,
for better. Yeah.
same fucking
Agreed.
thing. That is a respect deal, and that is men all day. So if you rent a house, leave it better than you found it to begin with, or at least in the same condition. If you fucked it up, fix that shit. Same thing with
I
your
was telling
borrowing your
Chris about
buddy's
that
stuff.
specific thing earlier. Is I was fortunate enough to get a good situation for my rental property. I realized there are certain things that definitely need to be improved. I'm just improving them for him because he's giving me a good deal per month to where I can actually do that. Why not cover up some gashes in the drywall from the previous people who lived here that they didn't fix it, and put a fresh coat of paint on things? I want to take pride. You take pride in where you live too. It's not just a rental. You
Sure,
have to be in that space. And it's just
for
going to be
sure.
harder when you move out if you don't keep up with it and you don't improve it over time, right?
Oh, for
So,
sure.
yeah,
And it's going to cost you that much more money too. Because if you let
Exactly.
shit go too far, it costs more money to replace something than it does to maintain it. Just
Every time.
maintain it. And then, like, that's just a respect thing, and it's not something you see in society that much anymore.
You
If
don't.
you get something from somebody that is not yours, and you're going to have to give it back in the same condition it was given to you in, or better. And that's real man shit right there. Respect. All right. So, with that being said, we're going to divide this up into a two-part series when it comes to these rules, unwritten rules for men. I didn't expect it to go this long, but we just had some good shit to talk about. So, stay tuned for part 2. And just to get the word out there for everybody that's listening and watching, like, follow, subscribe. Now, when I say that, I don't mean it just for the hell of it. If this brings some kind of value to your life, or you know somebody else that could get value from the stuff that we talk about here on Toxically Male, like, follow, subscribe. Do it because you believe in it, not because I'm just asking you to do it. We're trying to get this information out there for people that or might be a little lost. They don't know where to start, or they're just looking for extra stuff or extra ways to make their life a little bit easier. And it's also for real men out there. When I say real men, I mean traditional not masculine. Well, yeah, that too, but blue collar men. A place for them to talk and a place for them to vent. You know, uh, for too long we've been seen as the outlier, the uneducated, or hillbilly, corn-fed hick motherfuckers. Whatever you want to call it. We haven't been seen in a good light, and we're the ones that keep the lights on. So if you need a place to talk, this is where it's at. Um, by all means, if you know of any um, unwritten rules to being a man that we haven't covered so far, might be in the next one, but please put in the comments. We will actually talk about what you put in the comments down there. So if it's another rule, we'll bring it up in another episode. By all means, let's help each other out. So unless you guys got anything else to say, all right, we've done the talking, you've done the listening. It's time for us to get our asses back to work.
Stick like oak, steel toe boots kicking up the smoke, sweat on the brow, dirt in the soul. Sunrise hits a weathered face, hammer swings in a steady race. Hard-earned pride ain't no disgrace. Iron and grit, that's what we know. Built this land.